And as we've been discussing all about the 2024 GOP platform, how it's really been watered down, both in terms of content and the process by which it all came about. I also want to bring our next guest to you. I'm joined by Chad Connelly. He's the founder of and CEO of Faith Wins. He was actually on the RNC platform committee, and then he was removed from it. He joins me now to share some of his experiences. Chad, welcome back to Washington Watch. Always great to have you, my friend.
Hey, Jody, how you doing, my brother? Great to see you and honored to be on here as usual, brother.
Well, it is our honor to have you. Let's start with, we've mentioned it a couple of times today. You were actually on the platform committee and you were removed. Share with us your experience and explain a little bit how all that happened.
Yeah, literally, I'm a former state party chairman, a senior staffer at the RNC, first ever national director of faith engagement. But about a week before our delegation meeting, which was perfunctory, we've done them in the past. Our state party chairman, Drew McKissick, set it up, ran it, everything else. Some Trump mid-level consultants started calling my fellow delegates saying I was too conservative, too Christian, too pro-life. And they did the same with LaDonna Riggs, who works on my Faith Wins team with me and who's actually been a platform representative on the female side for South Carolina 3 separate times. And we were just too conservative. And so we didn't think much about it because these are my buddies, right? These are delegates who helped me get elected twice here. And they were, of course, calling me saying, what is going on? I'm like, man, I got no idea. And so we went ahead and had our meeting. We ran against the quote unquote hand-picked select and we beat them. And they had run a fake meeting. The meeting was not called by the state party. It was called by RNC staffers. It was, they didn't even take a roll call. They had delegates and alternates vote in the meeting. They didn't give 24 hours notice. They broke pretty much every rule in the state party and the RNC book, but they went ahead and did that. When our state party chairman submitted our names for platform committee, they filed a protest, which went to the contest committee at the Republican National Committee, and who, again, people that I've known for a while since I was on the committee, and I don't know what they were promised, but they voted against us. They validated the other people who were just, I hate to say it, but just yes people put in place. Well, we filed a protest per RNC rules. There's supposed to be a oral hearing. They denied that. Then they just scrapped the entire hearing process, Jody. They just ignored it. And I've talked to probably 3 dozen RNC members. You and Brent were just talking about the process. The process was completely wiped out. This cake was baked. They had a desire to just roll through this, steamroll everybody who disagreed. From the vote 84-18, you can tell. I don't know. I've talked to so many people in that world, and I'm like, there's nobody I know of who's against President Trump. Everybody I know realizes the country can't take 4 more years of Joe Biden. At the same time, the process matters, the platform matters, and based on what I've seen the last 72 hours, Jody, it's not an exaggeration. I am positive I've had over 100 phone calls, many more 100 texts, and I don't know how many hundreds, easily over 1,000 pastors from all over the country have messaged me in one shape or form concerned about this, the process and the outcome, and disappointment, betrayal, shock. All those words are the adjectives I'm hearing. I've been on the phone all day today. I don't usually do phone calls on Sunday. I go to church and worship and have family time. I took, I don't know, over a dozen phone calls yesterday from concerned pastors who are now like, what do we do? And how do we handle this?
Well,
And of course, as you know, Jody, most pastors don't endorse, but they do
yeah,
want to have a platform they can stand by.
yeah, that is the question, Chad, with all of this is, I don't know how much of the program you've been able to catch today, but we've talked about this whole platform and specifically the life issue from a moral perspective. We've talked about it from a policy perspective, but what you're leading into is a political perspective. This very likely is going to have some political ramifications. If you're getting 1,000 text messages from pastors across the country, that's pretty alarming, isn't it?
Well, listen, yeah, and they just don't know how to react. And like I said, they don't necessarily want to endorse, but many of them have used platform comparisons to teach their people. And Jody, you've heard me speak. We don't talk about party or person or whatever. We talk about policies and principles that line up with a biblical worldview. But from what it looks like, and I've not fully digested it, we just reversed 48 years of a pro-life trajectory. And I think the wording is vague enough that we can stand on it. Certainly, I'm thrilled they kept the 14th Amendment language, but on marriage, it looks like it's really vague. And I'm glad I wasn't there. We got to answer to people for this. I think it's a political miscalculation. I told people on the RNC that, look, you're right. I know what they're thinking. Christians have nowhere else to go. I get that, like you said. However, I heard from more than many pastors who said this very thing. Yeah, I'll probably vote for the right guy, but do I want to go work for this? Do I want to stand in my pulpit and make a declaration of this is obvious who you should vote for? I think the base is going to be deflated in a lot of ways, and the people who could be multiplying, I don't see them wanting to multiply their efforts
And
right now.
all of this so avoidable and so unnecessary. Chad Connelly with Faith Wins, thank you so much for standing in the gap for us, and thank you for taking time to join us today on Washington Watch.
Thank you, brother. God bless you, Jody. Thanks for standing.